In this video, I'm going to talk to Q again, and we're going to talk about the application process, overturning denials, and he's going to share with you a wild story about how he was able to overturn a denial after 3, 4, 5, 6 different phone calls talking to representatives, underwriters, etc. Stay tuned. Let's dive into it. All right, in this video, I've got Q back with me, who I call the $700,000 man. Basically, it's just a guy who goes out and probably does and goes deeper than you do and on his applications, in return, gotten a ton of credit. So what I wanted to cover today is this is essentially part 3 of the interview series, let's call it. I'm fascinated with this guy because of the amount of credit that he's able to go and get. For example, he just went and got 8 new cards since the beginning of October. So that's like, what, 2-3 weeks? He's gone and gotten 8 new cards. And so just to throw some stats at you, he's done 55 applications that were approved for himself. He's helped out to get 45 cards for his family, 10 for his cousin, and 10 for friends. Now, keep in mind that all those approvals, there's also a ton of denials. But what I find fascinating is, again, the tenacity to go in there and get the job done with a reconsideration, to overturn a denial, or just to provide the information. Again, like let's give a quick backstory. Is, he came here as an immigrant. So he, on every application, is going to have a harder time than you. Please understand that. Like if you're a naturalized born citizen into the United States, you're gonna have an easier time getting credit than him. One thing that I notice across the boards is there's like 2 big questions that come up. Is people start to get itchy about like how much credit he's got, and they immediately have like this I don't know what kind of mindset, I can't think of it off the top of my head, like what fallacy or what fallacy this falls into, but essentially they start like acting like broke. And so they start questioning like, oh, why do you need so much credit? Blah, blah, blah. I never need that much credit, blah, 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 right? Something like that. I'm here to tell you that like, I think that's completely wrong. And then secondly is you got to understand that like 90% of this is not on the personal side. You would never be able to go and get this much credit on the personal side. This is on the business side. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about the application process, overturning denials, and just general tips on how to position yourself from a business standpoint. One last note is we're not talking about LLCs. We're not talking about going and structuring C Corps, S Corps, trusts that own entities or vice versa. We are talking about just going out and being a sole proprietor. Now, even though you can go out and get a DUNS number and go and get a tax ID number that is different than your social security number, how 99.9% of people do it is they literally just use their social security number as a sole proprietor. And how to qualify for that is if you go and sell anything at any point for $1, a couple dollars, anything throughout the year. If you are selling something to somebody, you would technically qualify to be a sole proprietor. You are running business under your name. So anyways, Q, welcome back. Great to have you.
Thanks for having me again.
All right, cool. So we've got some stuff pulled up on the screen. I don't think we'll get to everything on the right. I think we'll save that for another video. But I mean, this is insanely impressive, man. 55 applications for yourself, 45 for family, 10 for cousin, 10 for friends, and 8 new cards in the last 2 weeks. Whew. That's a lot, man.
I agree.
That's a lot. Let's answer the question again. Why do you need so much credit?
I have that much of spending, and I'm just trying to take the advantage of the welcoming bonus and the high credit limit that's not gonna hurt my utilization. So like, let's say the 8 cards I opened by less than 2 weeks, since October 4th, probably to October 20th, I should spend $14,000 to $15,000 by 3 months. I know it's not a natural number for a single person, but again, I have those spending, and I'm 100% sure that I will be able to spend $15,000 by end of January 2023. Why not just take 15-20% bonus for something I do? And what most of the people don't know, those welcoming bonus are not taxable, are tax-free. It does count as a rebate. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, but you can Google this and you will see on Google the welcoming bonuses are type of a rebate. So not taxable, not like, as long as you pay for it, that count as a rebate, not like a business checking account or personal checking account. Put $2,000 and you will receive a $300 bonus. That's taxable, and it's up to your tax rate. So that's why I open it. I'm not opening it just to be fancy and say, hey, to the friends, I have 120 credit card. Absolutely not. That's not part of the game.
If I were to chime in, my opinion, what I feel like you're like on the chase. You're like on this ultimate quest to figure out like the perfect stack of credit cards for yourself. And along the process, you're going to churn a lot, obviously, or whatever you want to call that terminology. Like you're going to use a lot of accounts and figure out, I don't really like this, or you literally just used it for the sign-up bonus. But I feel like where you're going to ultimately end is you're going to have like this perfect stack of cards that all have an insane amount of liquidity on them that you can pull from, and they maximize the benefits to like fit your life and your standards, your quality of life, rather.
100% correct.
Yeah.
Because now the plan is I have 2 platinum cards. I have a gold card. I have a green card on the personal side. After I use them for a year, I have gained ton of bonuses, ton of refill, as I show you on my brother's side and my side, because we just pass those refill bonuses to each other on each card, because each card has a limit. And we just wait for the right offer, because American Express will target this offer. And after we done, like now, I see no sense why I need 2 platinums, no sense why I need green and gold card. I just go and close them. I figured out that the cards that fit my needs, restaurants, because that's most of the spending on my personal side, it's a Chase Sapphire Reserve with the point. And I figure out how to get as much point as possible, as I have texted you with my cousin and family and brother and myself, and how many points I have been able to collect. Also the US Bank. So I was denied, unfortunately, a couple of days ago for the US Bank Reserve card. So I called in and they were like, yes, sir, we could product change your US Bank Go to US Bank Attitude Reserve. And as long as your card limit has a $10,000, because again, we're going to go back, this is a Visa Infinite. So the limits start with $10,000. So this is the minimum to start with. And gladly, I have $10,000 there, which is kind of tough with bank like US Bank for a person who has that many of credit cards. So I'm just going to change it. The reason why I change it, because the card has an annual fee of $400 and they give me $325 as a statement credit on any bars and restaurants, plus the 3% cash back on any digital wallet like Apple Pay, Google Pay, Samsung Pay. And the good thing is, and in fact, those three cash back does worth 4.5, because if you use those points on the US Bank travel portal, it will be boosted by 50%. And this is a real 50%, not like Chase, 37% or 33.3%, like a third. And then as long as you cancel your travel ticket within 24 hours, US Bank will refund it as a statement credit to your bank account. So typically it's a right trick to do when you collect that many points.
Let's take a side note here, is pay attention to everything he just said. He pretty much knows that card, the reward system platform, how it operates, the way to maximize the most money, because it's usually not getting it as statement credit or deposit into your checking or savings account. Usually there's some other way to use it. Usually it's like through the travel portal or redeeming it for some sort of like discount that they've got on a site or something going on there. So it's like, the thing I can't stress enough is you really got to understand the ins and outs of the game. So like the amount of data that Q has on each one of these institutions that he's even in the arena playing with is huge. I would just say that like before you even want to get involved or do something like this, you need to go and get a sizable amount of intel, which is why we on the channel are constantly trying to give intel like this so that you can see. And just like, again, listening to what he's talking about, how he's saying it, like he knows exactly what he's talking about. He knows exactly what the plan is. So it's like, he's got the plan, he's executing it. And then boom, like as soon as if there's a change to the card or something comes up, then he just changes the plan, changes the usage of that card, and then on to the next one.
Exactly.
So speaking of that, I don't want to get too deep into that. I also think fundamentally, another topic, I don't want to talk about it in this video, but I want to tease people, is you got to understand is that you're building up history and you're building up usage on these cards. So it's not just about getting the card spending and then paying it off every single month. And, it's a couple $100 here or there. And then you get shocked when you don't get a $10,000 credit limit increase. If you want to get big increases, you have to go out and spend big money. You have to have bigger money sitting in the deposit accounts, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to save that for another time. But that's another common question that I've seen come in for Q is like, people don't fundamentally understand that you're a couple $100 and spend every single month and paying it literally before the statement even hits. So they're not even getting record of this. Doing that, you're not really getting ahead. You need to start going and putting something bigger and bigger and bigger on that if you want to play the game properly. And that's another big piece that I'll pluck out here and bring to your attention is that all the credit whales that I've talked to and met, Q, all the others in the community in the Discord, they do the same thing. Like that is a basic staple, is that they're making sure that this stuff is being reported on the statement and paid off before the pay date so that there's usage being reported under the details section or under the deeper dives of data aggregation that these banks do to look at your profile. They're not just looking at the same report you're looking at. There actually is more details there. And it's through the different third party or let's call them subprime bureaus. It's through all these different resources that they've got. They're getting a deeper look, whether you realize it or not, on your report. So anyways, all that set aside, I want to talk about, you gave me a crazy overturning a denial story. So I want to give this as inspiration. I want you to tell this story as inspiration because a lot of times if we don't get an instant approval, I would say probably 7, 8, 9, 10 people out of 10 are terrified to call in. They think that they're doing something wrong. They think that, they're going to ask them some kind of magical question that they're never going to be able to answer. I don't know. Maybe they lied on their application and they don't actually make the stated income that they make. They're afraid that they're going to trigger some sort of proof of income or something like that. And so they just don't call. Whereas you're somebody that you just keep calling. So why don't you go over the story of the recent denial you're telling me with your father?
Awesome. So I added my father as an authorized user on my Bank of America and Discover card, and they both very high limit, like 70,000 and 50,000 limit. And I used my Bank of America, so I had like probably $16,000 spent off the card. So reported on his credit that $16,000 was there. And he recently, I would say for the past 5-6 months, he got approved for 2 Chase cards and 2 American Express cards. So when I applied I would say on 23rd of September, I applied for Chase Flex for him and he got a denial. So I reached the reconsideration line. The lady was very helpful. She put me online. She got all the response. And she was like, sir, I'm sorry, I couldn't get you approved. That's a reconsideration line because you don't have a history. So my father doesn't have a checking account. His retirement goes to like a federal thing because his retirement he didn't open it like with a checking account. I opened one for him with CapitalOne, but has like, a low balance.
Right.
And the second one was like the short history. So I was like, ma'am, that card, my son is responsible for it. I was using his tongue like I'm him, like if I were him. And she was like, yes, sir, if we count this as not part of your DTI, then your credit history is not going to look good because you only have 4 cards and all card left, the age is like 3 months.
Yeah, which is crazy bad.
Exactly. I slept on that decision 3 days ago. So probably like almost 3 weeks. I was looking to when would I pay my $15,000? So I looked at the account. It says on November 4th. If I pass November 4th, I will pay interest rate. And people like me don't pay interest rate. I wouldn't say people like me. It's just people on the position I have reached. I have worked hard for it. So I called the reconsideration line back. And I was like, sir, my son just called me and told me that he would be able to pay the card now. So the DTI is not going to work on my side. With that help, and he could prove a statement that's showing he paid it off. The second underwriter was like, sir, would you be responsible to pay that card? I was like, no, it's my son's responsibility. He was like, no, your son doesn't have to pay it. Okay, look, the answer I received from the first underwriter, it's completely different than the second one. And the second one went like for 5 minutes and then came back and was like, sir, why would you be interested to open a 3rd Chase credit card and you have 2 American Express? I was like, if you look to the cards, I have one Amazon card. So this card for the Amazon purchases. I have the Freedom Unlimited, and this is like for my utilities and my utilities bill. And I have 2 American Express. Those both American Express are co-branded because he can't really know which card it is, like the actual card. So I was like, both cards co-branded, one for a hotel and one for an airline. So when I go with my wife, because again, I was using my father's name, I was him. I use those cards, but I need a card like Flex that gives me a 5% and give me a 3% for a gasoline, for a grocery, for a restaurant. He was like, so you're gonna use it? I was like, absolutely. He put me in hold and he came back 5 minutes later. He was like, sir, are you looking to hunt the bonus? I was like, you know what? I'm not really interested about the bonus. I'm okay to get approved without having a bonus. He was like, no. You will have the bonus and you will have the card. He put me in hold and he came back. He was like, sir, you got approved. We're just going to send you an email on the Chase portal. Just upload your social security. I was like, why? I'm an existing customer, so you already guys have my information. He was like, no, sir, this is just, he said it's act right. Probably the new rules they come up with to put us like Australia and Canada and UK. It's going to be horrible if it happens. I uploaded. I called back. The first lady hung up on me. The second one, she was like, sir, you got declined. I was okay. I called the third person. A third person was like, sir, we got everything. We're going to see your social security. Everything is good to go. We are just waiting for the final approval. At 55 p.m. Eastern time, I received an email from Chase saying, action needed. We need you to call off to verify that you applied for this credit card. I called back and absolutely the underwriter didn't know, couldn't see that Chase sent me an email. So respectfully, I asked her to transfer the call to the manager. The manager get me approved, expedite the card. The card will be shipped on Monday. My father will spend the money, and the trick I shared with you, he will get the 20,000 point. 20,000 point transfer to my account, worth $300 by doing that.
Yeah, I mean that story right there, like we could spend the next hour talking about this, but please guys that are watching this video, like the tenacity, the amount of time spent, the not taking no, understanding your value, standing your ground, all of these little micro pieces are really so necessary in the credit game. Like, again, I just think people are afraid or, I don't know, like shy or something about like, okay, if you got this card over here, assign a usage to it. There's nobody said that you can't have a card for your groceries, a card for your Amazon, a card for your travel, a card for your, your Uber and your gig economy stuff, a card for your everyday spend. I mean, you can have 8, 9, 10 cards just as a regular person. And then the business can have the same thing, can it? So you can literally duplicate this over again. And there you go. Now we've got 20 cards for one person. It's not about why would you need 20 cards. It's so that you can use these things and maximize the usage, maximize the rewards, while simultaneously not like jumping up and bumping up your utilization so high that you start to get a credit hit. So you still stay in the sweet spot of still getting pre-approved offers, targeted email offers, et cetera, from all these platforms. And you get the usage, you get the bonuses. Like, it's literally the best of every single world. I don't understand why more people don't think like this. It's really weird, actually. But it's like, it's got to be from, so many people are coming from this place of lack. I guess that's a better way to say it. And so they're thinking like, oh God, don't push it because they just gave me a $20,000 limit. It's like, you're thinking of yourself too small. You need to like expand how you look at yourself and expand what you think you deserve in terms of credit cards, et cetera, because like clearly they're willing to give it. You haven't asked. It really is that simple, guys. Like, you got to ask, right?
Exactly. You're not going to lose nothing. Let's say I hear the decline. I would accept it that I did something or I tried doing something that 99.99% of the people usually don't do.
Never would have done. And like you gave it an honest go. Yeah.
I will have this piece on my soul, in my heart, in my brain, that I did everything possible and impossible. And also, some people will say, this guy has a free time. No. You still don't know me very well. I count the seconds. So each second has a dollar amount on the right side, not on the left side, on my 24 hours a day. But I know some people worth more money for me than the actual money. And trust me, when you reach that, When you have the money, you will understand that the money is very important, but it's not everything. And I can say that from a personal experience.
Yeah.
Also, like, I just found out by a small conversation. So you knew I got a PMO, I got 2 Credit Truist, I got 2 American Express. So officially, I have 8 lending cards. So the 5 rules is not legit. The 7 rules is not legit. I have 8 and all active. I got
and again, it's like that's something that like you read every single website and it's like, no, this is the way, it's set in stone. Like nothing is set in stone. And we've said that on every video we've shot together. None of these rules are set in stone. They're always breakable.
Correct. And I got the Navy Federal.
Oh yeah, you got that going too now. We got him in the Navy Fed. He's about to max out his stack.
Exactly.
And again, he's not the best client for a credit union. Credit unions hate 100%. A guy like this because 100%. He's got too many cards. He's got too much total credit limit. TCL is way too high. Most credit unions will not even touch him. Will not even touch him. Personal business won't touch him. All right, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Hey, you should subscribe. 60% of you are not subscribed yet. Right there. Okay, bye.